Okay, if you've ever faced a really big exam, you know that feeling, right? Especially something like the OET. There's just so much pressure. You put in all the work, and now you're just looking for that clear path to walk in feeling confident. Well, today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're diving deep into OET exam day itself. Everything from the final prep, how to actually perform well during the test, and then what happens afterwards with results and next steps. This whole deep dive, it's grounded in really practical advice, stuff drawn from sources like OET exam day, preparation, performance, and next steps. So our mission here is simple: help you turn that pre-exam anxiety into just calm confidence. We want you walking into that test feeling completely equipped.
Absolutely. And I think what's key to grasp is that OET isn't just about knowing the language. I mean, that's important, obviously. But real success comes from having a solid approach, a strategy, and being able to perform when you're feeling that pressure. It's about bringing your language skills and your strategy together.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Starting with the basics, the really practical stuff, things that might seem small, but can honestly make or break your confidence on the day. So what's absolutely top of the list? What do you have to bring?
Right. Top of the list, non-negotiable, your valid ID. And it must match your OET registration details exactly. Usually that means your passport. Make sure it matches perfectly.
Okay, passport matching the registration. Got it.
And second, equally vital, is your OET confirmation email. Either have it on your phone or maybe safer, have a printout. These two things are essential. You won't get in without them. Simple as that.
Right. No ID, no confirmation, no test.
Okay.
Beyond those absolute must-haves, what about other things that are maybe optional, but, smart to bring?
Well, a transparent water bottle is allowed. And like I said, staying hydrated, it actually makes a difference to your focus, especially over a long exam. So yeah, good idea.
Okay, clear bottle. Makes sense.
Also, if you need specific medical equipment, say for the speaking test, you need to check beforehand if it's permitted. Don't just assume.
Good point. Check ahead.
And depending on the venue rules, maybe a face mask. It's always worth checking the venue requirements just in case. Better to have one and not need it.
Okay, sensible prep. Now, logistics. Getting there. The advice is always arrive early, like 30 minutes early. Sounds basic, but what's the real benefit there, psychologically?
Oh, it's huge. It's not just about following the rules. Arriving early, say 30 minutes or even a bit more, completely eliminates that feeling of rushing, of panic.
Right, the last-minute dash.
Exactly. That buffer time lets your brain switch gears. You go from travel, stress mode, to exam-ready mode. You can find your room, your seat, take a breath, maybe do that box breathing we'll talk about. It lets you feel in control.
So you're settling in, not scrambling.
Precisely. So yeah, know your venue location, maybe even do a practice run of the journey if you can. Think about potential traffic or transport issues. Have a backup plan.
And what about comfort, like clothing?
Oh, definitely dress in layers. Exam rooms can be unpredictable. Sometimes they're freezing, sometimes they're boiling. You don't want to be distracted because you're physically uncomfortable. Your focus needs to be entirely on the test.
That makes total sense. Managing the external stuff, the logistics, the comfort, it all feeds into that internal calm, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It sets the stage.
Which brings us nicely to that internal game. Managing nerves, staying focused. Expert, how crucial is mastering your mindset on the day?
If you look at the bigger picture, it's arguably just as important as your language knowledge. You can know everything, but if you can't perform under pressure, it's tough. Mastering your mindset is non-negotiable.
So what are some concrete ways to do that, to manage those nerves?
Okay, a really effective technique is box breathing. It's simple but powerful. You breathe in slowly for a count of 4, you hold your breath for 4, you breathe out slowly for 4, and then you hold them for 4.
In for 4, hold 4, out 4, hold 4.
Exactly. Repeating that cycle a few times can really calm your nervous system down. Another one is positive visualization. Just take a moment, close your eyes, and picture yourself doing well, feeling calm and confident during the test.
Visualization. Okay.
And a really important caution. Stay off social media on exam day morning. Seriously.
Oh, interesting. Why specifically social media?
Because it's often filled with other people's last-minute panic or questions. Did you study X? I forgot Y. It can just plant seeds of doubt or anxiety right when you need to feel centered and focused on your own preparation. Just avoid it.
That's such good practical advice. Sometimes what you don't do is key. Okay, so you've used breathing, visualization, avoided social media. You're in the exam room. How do you maintain that focus during the different parts, like listening and reading?
For listening and reading, the key is to stay present. If you miss an answer or find a question really hard, don't dwell on it. Just let it go and move on to the next one immediately. Wasting mental energy on past questions is counterproductive.
Keep moving forward. Okay, what about the writing test? That timed pressure can be intense.
Definitely. Time management here is absolutely critical. The advice is usually a 5:35-5 split.
5:35:5. Break that down for us.
Right. So the first 5 minutes are purely for planning. Reading the task, understanding the notes, planning your letter structure. Don't skip this.
Resist the urge to just start writing immediately.
Exactly. Then you have a solid 35 minutes for the actual writing. Focus on getting your points down clearly, following your plan.
Okay, 35 minutes of focused writing.
And crucially, leave the last 5 minutes for checking. This isn't for major rewrites. It's for catching small errors, grammar, spelling, punctuation, maybe checking you addressed all the key points from the notes. Those final checks can pick up easy marks.
That 5:35:5 structure sounds really disciplined. It prevents that rambling or running out of time feeling, I imagine.
It does. It provides a clear framework and helps ensure you cover everything needed within the time limit. It stops you from, say, spending 35 minutes writing and having no time to even reread it.
Makes sense. Okay, and then the speaking subtest. Lots of people worry about their accent here. What's the real focus?
Okay, this is important. For the speaking test, your main focus should be on clarity and empathy. Are you communicating your message clearly? Are you showing understanding and building rapport with the interlocutor who's playing the role of a patient or caregiver?
So it's less about sounding like a native speaker and more about effective professional communication.
Precisely. Intelligibility matters. Of course, they need to understand you, but the assessment is focused on your clinical communication skills. Can you explain things clearly? Can you listen actively? Can you show empathy? A strong accent is perfectly fine as long as you are easily understood and you're demonstrating those key communicative skills.
So don't obsess over the accent itself.
Don't obsess. Sometimes over-focusing on changing your accent can actually make you sound less natural and might even distract you from the more important task of clear, empathetic communication. Focus on being understood and connecting professionally.
That's a really reassuring point, actually. I think a lot of listeners will appreciate that. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about the final 24 hours, the day before the exam. What should revision look like then? It's not about cramming, is it?
Absolutely not. The final 24 hours are definitely not for cramming new information. That usually just increases anxiety and doesn't really stick. The goal now is smart, targeted review to reinforce what you already know and get your mind into performance mode.
Okay, so what does smart review look like in that last day?
Think about reviewing model structures, like glance over a standard structure for the writing task or remind yourself of the flow for the speaking role plays. It just refreshes those frameworks in your mind.
So reinforcing the how, not necessarily the what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could maybe do some light practice, like one part A listening or reading task, but only if you're feeling calm about it. If doing practice makes you anxious the day before, then just don't. It's not worth it.
Listen to your own anxiety levels there. Good tip.
Yeah, and maybe quickly skim the feedback you got on your last practice test or two. Just remind yourself of a couple of key things you were working on.
Okay, light review. What about other sort of low-stress activities that might still be helpful?
You could try writing out a practice letter introduction from memory, just the opening part, or watch an OET speaking sample video online. Not to critique yourself, but maybe to pick up a couple of useful phrases you like.
Oh, like actively listening for good expressions.
Yeah, maybe note down 5 or 10 useful phrases, things like, just to clarify, or based on what you've told me, or what I'll do now is, just reviewing those can boost confidence.
Okay, those seem manageable. But what's the single most important piece of advice for that final 24 hours?
Get proper rest. Seriously. A good night's sleep is probably the best preparation you can do at that point. Avoid pulling an all-nighter to cram. It's completely counterproductive. You'll perform much better feeling refreshed and alert than feeling exhausted but having crammed one extra thing.
Rest is paramount. Got it. Okay, so you've done the prep, managed the nerves, taken the test. Now what? Let's talk about after the exam. Results and what comes next. Expert, what's the typical timeline?
Right, so after the test, there's that waiting period. Generally, OET results are released about 17 business days after your test date. You'll usually get an email, and you can log into your OET portal online to see the detailed scores.
17 business days, okay. And how do people understand those scores? It's not just pass-fail, is it?
No, it's graded on a scale from A down to E for each of the 4 subtests: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. A score of 350 or above in a subtest usually corresponds to a grade B.
And grade B is off of the requirement for registration.
Yes, for many healthcare boards like the NMC in the UK or AHPRA in Australia, a grade B or 350 is typically the minimum requirement in each of the 4 skills. But you should always check the specific requirements of the organization you're applying to.
Right, check the specific target score you need, and the scores are separate for each part.
That's right. Each subtest is scored independently, so you get a separate grade for listening, reading, writing, and speaking.
Okay, so let's say the results come in and you've achieved the scores you needed. Fantastic. What are the next steps then?
Well, first, congratulations. That's a huge achievement. The next steps are usually quite straightforward. You'll use your OET results to proceed with your professional registration with the relevant body, like the NMC or AHPRA I mentioned.
Okay, use the results for registration.
Yes, and then that usually allows you to move forward with visa applications if needed, or applying for jobs that require OET. And of course, even after passing, it's important to keep developing your skills through, continuing professional development or CPD.
Keep those skills sharp. Makes sense. Now, for the other scenario, what if the results aren't quite what you needed? That can feel really disheartening.
It definitely can be disappointing, but the absolute first thing is, don't panic. Honestly, it's quite common for healthcare professionals to need 2 or sometimes even 3 attempts to get the scores they need in all 4 areas. It doesn't reflect poorly on your clinical skills.
That's really important to hear. It's normal. So, okay, don't panic. What's the constructive next step?
The best thing to do is try to understand why you didn't get the score. If OET offers a feedback service for your test type, consider requesting it. It might give you some insights.
Look for feedback if possible.
Yes. And then really reflect honestly on your performance. Where did you struggle? Was it managing time in the writing? Was it understanding specific accents and listening? Maybe it was using complex grammar accurately in speaking, or perhaps fully grasping the requirements of the writing task.
So self-assessment and identifying those specific weak areas.
Exactly. Once you know where the gaps are, you can create a much more targeted study plan. And this might be the point where you consider getting some extra help, maybe enrolling in OET preparation classes that focus on your specific areas of difficulty.
So it's about regrouping, analyzing, and making a plan, rather than just feeling defeated.
Precisely. It's about turning that result, even if it's disappointing, into useful information to guide your next attempt. It gives you agency, a path forward.
That's a great way to frame it. A roadmap, no matter the immediate outcome. Okay, before we wrap up, let's do a super quick final checklist. Have a mental run through for our listener right now. Expert, let's tag team this. Top of the list.
ID, does it perfectly match your registration name?
Check. Venue and journey time. Do you know exactly where you're going and how long it takes?
Check. Got those calming techniques like box breathing ready in your mental toolkit?
Check. Have you done that light final review of structures or key phrases? Nothing heavy.
Check. Are you planning to be well hydrated and crucially well rested?
Check. And finally, do you have a basic plan or thought about your next steps after the exam, regardless of the outcome?
Check. If you can mentally tick those boxes, you are really setting yourself up well.
Fantastic. So we've really walked through a comprehensive roadmap for OET exam day to day. It's not just about the language, is it? It's about mastering the whole experience. The prep, the mindset, the performance, and the follow-through.
Exactly. And I think that final thought from our source material really sums it up perfectly. The OET isn't just a language test, it's a professional communication test.
Go in with pride, clarity, and calm professionalism.
Yes. Thinking about it that way as a demonstration of your professional communication skills, not just language skills, it can be quite empowering.
It really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? So a final thought for you, our listener. How does viewing the OET as a professional communication test change your approach? How can you go in ready to showcase not just your English, but your readiness to communicate effectively and empathetically as a healthcare professional? Something to reflect on as you head toward your exam.